Gentlemen, welcome to my channel. Apparently, some of these reactors who used to react about Marwa, they have found another niche. Okay, they have found a new lover. The new lover is called Jamaica, ladies and gentlemen. Apparently, they have found, or they seem to have realized how Jamaicans are very supportive, and now, all of a sudden they love Jamaica. All of a sudden they love reggae music. Anyway, but before I move on, please welcome to my channel. My name is called Real Marcos, and share this content. Go to your neighbors and knock on their doors and show them this video because they need them. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, where was I? Oh, people need to pay bills. People need to pay bills in this world. That's why they have extra channels. That's why they have more than 5 channels. One channel they'll talk. One channel they will focus on Jamaica. The other channel they will continue speaking about Marwa. Why? Because they need to consolidate their funds so that they can finance, or they can be able to finance their life in Europe. Life in Europe is very expensive. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. So how genuine are these videos? And by the way, before I move on, why am I even talking about this? Who am I to discuss this? Who am I to talk about, these channels that talk about Jamaica? Who am I? Who am I to do that? Who am I to them? I am discussing this because I'm the one who started this trend. Yes, I'm the one who started this trend here in Kenya. I'm the one who made this discovery. Okay, everyone is now refocusing their, everyone is now refocusing all their ears on Jamaican content. And some of these Marwa's reactors, they are also tapping in. They are also tapping in and going into that space. Apparently, we also have some Jamaicans. They are Jamaicans. They are allowed to talk about their country, ladies and gentlemen. But it will be fair if there were Jamaicans who are getting more traction, more viewership. But anyway, that's not the point. The point is, why do you think there is a sudden change of content? Number one, Jamaicans, just like Kenyans, they are very curious. Just like Kenyans, they are very curious. As Kenyans, we get curious. We always want to know from the other side of perspective. I always want to know, what does this foreigner has to say about my country? It's the same thing with Jamaicans. When you have a Nigerian, when you have a Sudanese, yes, Jamaica, hey, these are Sudanese, these are Nigerians speaking about my country. What does he has to say? Curiosity. You want to know what this foreigner, what does this foreigner know about my country? I'm so curious, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, I like family. There's familiarity and there's curiosity. When it's coming from your own countryman, you won't be as curious. But when it's coming from a foreigner, you'll want to listen more. So Jamaicans, just like Kenyans, we are very curious, very curious. Another thing is, another thing is, from what I have said previously, people need to pay bills. People have to pay bills. And sometimes I'm doubting some of these videos, whether they are genuine or they are not genuine enough. Okay, people have to pay bills. When you see someone having 2 or 3 extra channels, not that this person must pay their bills. And because they have seen how supportive Jamaicans are, and because they have realized that Jamaican content has so much traction, they do not want to waste that opportunity. They want to take that opportunity as fast as possible and cash in as much money as possible before the sun dawns, ladies and gentlemen. Some of us live very expensive life. Some of them live, not me, some of them live very expensive lifestyles. That's why they have 5 channels, ladies and gentlemen. So that is one of the reasons. I'm not saying that I'm 100% correct, but this is one of the reasons. People must pay bills. People have to pay bills, and for them to pay bills, they must have extra channels, and one of them, they talk about Jamaica, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, of course, the next argument will be, Jamaicans have to stop supporting these people. They have to stop watching their content. But you see, YouTube is more of psychology. Okay, YouTube is more of human emotions. So if they can tap into topics that will stimulate human emotions, definitely they are going to get traction. If they can tap into titles that is going to, generate curiosity among Jamaicans to want to click on their videos, definitely Jamaicans are going to click on their videos, ladies and gentlemen. That's how they play with their wordplay. It's called wordplay. Okay, and apparently everyone right now is talking about oil discovery. Oil discovery. Oil discovery. That's something new in Jamaica. You want to get curious. Oil discovery. There's oil in Jamaica. You want to get curious and you want to tap in. You want to click. Yeah. So you'll find yourself even watching when you even had no intentions of watching, ladies and gentlemen. That's why they get distraction. Okay, no matter how much you say no, Jamaicans have to stop watching these people. It's all about psychology. YouTube has a lot to do with human behaviors and human psychology and human, emotions, ladies and gentlemen. And the people that use this very well, they tend to get so many views, so many tractions, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know why I'm talking about this, and I'm also one of their YouTubers. I'm also one of them, but I'm allowed to talk about this because I started this trend. And when I started this trend of Jamaican topics, I didn't even know that I will actually get traction. I didn't know. It's an observation that I made earlier on, ladies and gentlemen. YouTube is a psychological engine. Okay, once you understand that YouTube is a psychological engine, then you will become a successful YouTuber. That's why you find yourself even watching a YouTuber that you don't like and say, how did I find myself watching this video? I don't like this guy, I don't like him. It's psychology, ladies and gentlemen. Now another reason is, which is a very valid reason, and it's also very good. Okay, for a long time, Jamaica has been dealing with a baggage of bad media. For a very long time, Jamaicans have been dealing with a baggage of bad media. Okay, with the stereotypes, all these stereotypes that have been hard hitting Jamaicans for a very long time. But now when you have people who are coming in and positively speaking about Jamaica, positively airing good things about Jamaica, that is new. Yes, that is new. And there's one particular person. Anyway, I don't want to go so much into details, but what I'm saying is, is a good reason. It's a valid reason. It's something positive. Okay, even if they are talking about Jamaica, but at least they are putting a Jamaica on a global map positively. Okay, so it becomes a win-win situation. Yes, they will get traction on their end, and Jamaica will get a positive validation on their end, ladies and gentlemen. Now the only thing that is remaining is to start their journey to go to Jamaica, because that way it will also make more sense. Okay, it makes more. By the way, I kind of agree with some of these Jamaicans. Please come to Jamaica, visit Jamaica, then you can talk about Jamaica all you want. But it doesn't make sense when you speak about Jamaica on your sofa somewhere in Europe or somewhere in Kenya. They have a point, and this is why I'm coming here, urging you people, please connect me to Jamaica. I want to go to visit Jamaica so that I can go and go to these nice areas that I keep discussing about, ladies and gentlemen. So that is one of the reasons that I have mentioned, positive review about Jamaica. That's why they're getting traction. Positive review. Another reason is change of content and monotony. Okay, so when you have a bulk of reactions from one village, from Nyabohanse village, every time you have a monotony of drama that is still going on in Nyabohanse, people get tired. Because of redundancy. Okay, redundancy keeps people bored. So sometimes it's good to tap in other niche. It's good to tap and talk about other things, ladies and gentlemen. The positive side of it, at least that gives Marwa time to breathe and the rest of Nyabohanse people, right? Because thriving in drama every day Imagine a situation where you are always thriving in drama. You're always thriving in drama. There's always something bad happening in that village. There's always something bad happening in that village. And this is a cycle, it's a roller coaster of bad news every day. Take a minute and look what that can do even to your mental health. If you're exposed to, bad things every day, drama, fights, toxicity every day from the news, from this title, from this YouTube, every day. That's why, you'll be even asking yourself, why am I sad? Why am I depressed? Why am I depressed? It's the media sometimes. The media that you expose yourself to, in one way or the other, really contributes to your mental health. Be careful about what you watch. That's why I'm always against bad media. I'm always against bad media. I'm always against, negative media. Sometimes it's good to stick and watch positive reviews. Even watch somebody cooking omena. That is good. It's appetizing. When you watch, someone cooking, someone, it's better. Ladies and gentlemen, another reason is there's already a lot of Jamaicans who watch and subscribe and who watch and have subscribed to African YouTubers. They follow along. I told you, if there are people who are so much interested with African people and they want to follow what goes on in Africa are the Jamaicans people. Okay? A lot of Jamaicans really love to repatriate back to the motherland. Just look at it that way. A lot of them watch what goes on in Africa. So when it comes to African YouTubers, already we have a number of Jamaicans watching these African YouTubers. So even when they transition from whatever reaction that they were doing in Nyabohanse, it becomes even easier to go and swift very fast to Jamaica, and they will get views. They get views like that. Bah! Okay, but I don't know when they try to speak another thing about another thing, maybe Donald Trump and some other things. There is no views. Maximum is 500. Okay, but when they speak about Jamaica, views. Sometimes I think Jamaica is the Canaan. Jamaica could be the Canaan that we have been looking for. Ladies and gentlemen, Jamaican could be the Canaan that we have been looking for. Is the Canaan on earth. Is the promised land on earth, ladies and gentlemen. But tell me why. Why will someone speak about, let's say, Donald Trump? Maximum views 300. Speak about Andrew Holness, Jamaican. Maximum views 3,000, 4,000, up to 10,000. And then they try to connect. Ibrahim Traore. They find a way they will connect Ibrahim Traore and Jamaica. Even when it has nothing to do with Jamaica, but they will still find a way to connect that word Jamaica. Doing 20,000 views. Ladies and gentlemen, how is that even possible? How is that even possible? I'm telling you, Jamaica is the promised land. I don't know where we are looking for. Let's go to the promised land. That is it, ladies and gentlemen. That is the truth. That is the truth. Nothing but pure truth. Okay? And of course, my Jamaican journey. Help me go to Jamaica. Next year, I am planning a serious Jamaican journey to Jamaica. Ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, thank you so much. Share this video. Subscribe. Do the good stuff. And see you again in my next YouTube channel. And officially I am back to reaction. Back to back reactions, ladies and gentlemen. And thank you so much for following along and watching and subscribing. This is the only way that I can come back, ladies and gentlemen. One of the things that I know, I have the most amazing audience. That's the most thing I know.